We just got Paradise episode 4, and this was an amazing episode. But the way it ended, I feel like it could possibly ruin so much in the show. We're going to go through this whole entire episode. We're going to talk about characters, theories, details, all of it. So this episode was really about Billy's backstory and just fleshing him out as a character, allowing us as an audience to have empathy for him and just see what's going on, right? So in this short sequence at the beginning, we're shown he has a terrible uncle, and we're shown how he's basically just been forged into this person, the dangerous, violent person, which in the show is important because we just heard from Dr. Gabriella that the president knew that he was dangerous. But this scene at the beginning comes back in multiple ways throughout the episode. And one of the most important ways it comes back is this.
I let you around my kids, man.
Your kids are my fucking world, man. I'm following them around, making sure nobody gets anywhere near them. Jesus Christ, X, you guys are the only thing in this fucking place that fucking matters to me. You know that.
This whole scene was just absolutely amazing. And so we see this full circle character arc of Billy having a bad uncle and then making sure he's not going to be a bad uncle to Xavier's kids. But even more than that, we also get an answer as to why he was outside Xavier's house with his gun last episode watching his daughter. He wasn't endangering her, he was protecting her, which I had guessed that's what he was doing. When we get to this part of this scene here, I'm sure all of us were just like, oh my God, don't do it. Please don't do it, right? And then what's really wild is the psychology of this scene. Because as an audience, we're like, please don't shoot that dog. But then when he aims at his uncle instead, we're like, yeah, the psychology behind that is wild, right? And then this gets mirrored at the end of the episode in the big reveal that there's people alive outside. So right here, he's aiming at the animal. And then unfortunately, we know he switches over his scope to the people and boom, 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 boom. And so there's a direct parallel there. It's like the life that he had on the outside, Sinatra makes him relive that on the inside, even though his life was going so well. And there was a switch up of him actually having friends and family and all that he never was able to have in the old world, as they call it. We're definitely going to come back to this scene right here a little bit later because this deer, I think, is actually extremely important. Man, look at this. She's evil, man. She's evil, acting all innocent. And what's wild is I actually guessed that she was the one that was going to take him out. And I guessed it when this line was said.
You think you're the only killer I brought down here just in case?
You gonna send somebody for me?
You better make sure it's the biggest motherfucker you got.
As soon as that line was said, I turned to my wife. We were both watching. I was like, it's going to be Jane, because that dialogue is going to come back because she's all dainty and cute and this and that, and she's going to be the real killer.
You told her to send the biggest motherfucker she had. I'm it, baby.
And the actual line of dialogue did come back, so that was a crazy guess by me. But listen, I'm not 100% sure Billy's dead. I'm not 100% sure. And the reason why is he's like too important of a character, and there's honestly not that many main characters in this show. There's really not. And so him dying would be like a complete surprise. I think somehow he found a way to be somewhat resistant to the poison, either through something in his training. And by his training, I mean whatever this group was that he was in. I also think maybe, even though it doesn't look like he was sensing that Jane would do something like that, maybe he was just being careful just in case, because he has, innate trust issues. I'm hoping somehow, or maybe right like when the next episode starts, Xavier walks in and sees him like right before he's like dead and is able to somehow save him. I don't want Billy to die. But you want to know who else I think is evil? Dr. Gabriella. I feel like she is planting the seed in his mind that Billy's evil to separate them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to be weaker separated than together. I think she's playing mind games with him. Because remember, when we're introduced to her in her episode, we're introduced to her playing with cards. It's a game. She talks about poker, so she could be having a poker face on. She could be playing this long game with him. I also don't think Xavier 100% trusts her either. And the reason why is because at the carnival, he keeps ignoring her. And I don't think it's just because he feels awkward about what he did, the night before and all that. I feel like there's something more to it than that. Now, speaking of the carnival, I was trying to think of the symbolism behind the carnival, what it means on a deeper level. Now, I understand they're underground. They're trying to make it like reality. So they're having this carnival. But remember, Dr. Gabriella did everything on purpose. So I wonder why specifically it's a carnival. I think there's more. I feel like people don't think about these little kind of details mattering. Like, why is it a carnival instead of something else? But I'm telling you, everything matters. And I do think it relates to this. In my last video I did of the first 3 episodes, I talked about how in episode 3, there's a gigantic theme of games in that episode, from the Wii to Dr. Gabriella playing with cards to Xavier's dad playing chess. There was games everywhere in that episode. And now here we have a carnival and there's more games. And so gaming and things like that, I feel like are somehow going to have a big role thematically. I mean, they already are, but we're going to get some kind of payoff with that, I think. The game theme continues in what I'm about to show you, but it also reveals so much about, it foreshadows what's going to happen between Billy and Jane.
So one night, Jane and I were on duty together, and it's like 3:30 in the morning.
Mario Kart.
We punch out. This was before you started coming over for game night, which, by the way, is not a secret anymore, and I'm kind of in deep shit, so don't say anything to your dad. Look, babe, I think you like me, and I think I like you. In fact, you knocked me out.
You knock me out. And she knocked him out. Now, I think that line's going to come back and be important too, outside of the fact of the foreshadowing to the end of the episode. But I love writing when it works on multiple levels, and we really get that a lot in this show. See, even in this scene, she went over to find Xavier to tell him where Billy was so that they can talk, and she's so concerned about it. And there's just no way she's concerned. Like, she's plotting. She is plotting. Obviously, she's Sinatra's like best friend down there. And so I think, listen, don't trust Dr. Gabriella. Don't trust her. Now, for being such good friends, Xavier and the president is so ignorant and cold in this scene where Billy has to remind the president that Xavier lost his wife. See right here. And that's just so odd to me. I really don't feel like he's that self-absorbed. Like, maybe he's in denial himself and, he's drinking so much. Maybe he's drunk and there's just, no inhibition left or anything. I don't know, but this scene was just so odd. And I'm wondering, even outside of Xavier's wife not making the plane, if there's even more reasons why he fell out with the president. Now, I'm glad that we got something like this where we have these researchers going out to the surface to see what's going on, because in the first 3 episodes, I asked my wife, I was like, why haven't they sent anybody out to see if the world is still habitable? So I'm glad that they did this, because I thought it was common sense, and I was worried that they hadn't done it yet. I felt so bad for Billy right here. Like, he was really trying to turn a new leaf, but he's still under the control of people more powerful than him, still just getting toyed around with his past just coming back to haunt him. But this is the part that we really got to talk about here. That's just really, really interesting. So in this scene, we realize that there's air and people can breathe, right? But more than that, I want to talk about the deer, because in this scene, Sinatra says, still, even though he's been out on the surface, she tells him that it's not a habitable place, like people would be fighting for resources and all that. But the fact that they can breathe and the fact that there's animals means there's still water and there's still food. So I think she's lying about it not being habitable. Now, we did see that the city was destroyed, which, remember, doesn't make sense either, because the idea of going underground was because there was supposed to be a natural disaster, right? But between the dream Xavier had where the bomb was going off in the plane and then we just saw that the city definitely got hit by a bomb, I'm thinking, and I made a TikTok about this, that I think Sinatra lied about everything. I think that she bombed the world, the city. I don't know how many places are bombed, but I think she did it so that she could create a city that resembles her son's version of heaven. Remember that? And so that's paradise. And I think she did it so she could control everything, because she lost her son in a way that is uncontrollable. So she wants to control everything. And so I think she's lying. Like, even though Billy went to the surface, I think she's even lying to him about how habitable it is. And like I said, I knew in that scene too that Jane was going to be coming for Billy, but I didn't know it was going to happen this episode. But I'm pretty sure we can all agree, as soon as we heard Billy say this, we knew it was over.
Look, tomorrow, okay? I'll tell you everything, I swear to God. If it's okay with you, just want to be Uncle Billy just one more night. Okay? Okay.
Then the sparkler goes out. Yeah, we knew he was a goner after that. Notice, they're playing basketball during this scene too. Once again, a game. She sets this out there to make it look like he offed himself. And yeah. So, if he actually is dead, what's definitely going to happen is Xavier's going to know that he didn't kill himself, right? And he's going to be investigating. Sinatra's going to try to stop said investigation. I don't think he's going to find out Jane did it in the next episode. I think that's going to take some time. I think we're definitely going to find out that his wife is still alive. And now, not only is he investigating who killed the president, he's going to be investigating who killed Billy. And I feel like he's going to need an ally now, though. Like, outside of Billy, he doesn't really have an ally. Like, it looks like Dr. Gabriella could be an ally, but he seems to just be completely on his own right now. And so he needs a team. His daughter might play a bigger role now that Billy's gone. Maybe she's going to want to look into things. Maybe her and the president's son are both going to be teaming up to, the son's going to be investigating the president dying. She's going to want to see why Billy dies. I don't know. I think the structure of the show is going to change a lot depending on if Billy's actually dead or not, as far as the characters go and the teams and all that kind of stuff. But overall, this was an amazing episode. Oh man, hit me in the feels. But let's see where episode 5 goes, y'all. I'll see you next week.